Hi, my name is Jess Lane, and this video is on writing equations that are in slope-intercept form that are parallel or perpendicular to the line that is given. So if you don't know how to write equations in slope-intercept form, you need to make sure you watch my video on that. Watch my slope-intercept form video explaining what slope-intercept is and how to write equations and graph it and everything. But you should already know that previous knowledge. So I'll do a little quick review, but not like crazy review. We should know what slope-intercept form is the y equals mx plus b. This should not be new to you. Go and watch this video if you don't know what this is. So the m is the slope. This is just a little short review. And b is the y-intercept. Okay. And so to write in slope-intercept form, hence the name slope-intercept form, you have to know the slope and you have to know the y-intercept. Okay. So this says write the equation of a line that is parallel to this. So it gives us the original equation, but we want to write the equation that's parallel to that line. So that's not our answer. So we have to think what we know about parallel lines. Parallel lines never meet. So no matter how they're written, the slope, the constant of change, the rate of change, is always the same because they have to increase at the same rate or fall at the same rate, just like these lines. So we know that the slope of parallel lines is going to be the same. So our slope is going to be the same. So taking our original equation, and we're writing an equation that's parallel to this equation, we know that our slopes have to be the same. So we need to identify the slope in this equation. We know from slope-intercept form our m is in our slope position. So this is in our slope position, -2. So we know our slope of our new line is also going to be -2 because they're parallel, and parallel lines have the same slope. Now we have to figure out our y-intercept. Well, how do we figure that out? It's not going to be 3 because 3 is the y-intercept of this original equation and they're parallel lines. So it's not going to hit the y-axis at the same time. But we can figure it out with the information it gives us. We can figure it out with this information because we know our new equation and our new line goes through the point -4, -1. Well, when a coordinate point is written, it gives us an x value of one of the points and it gives us a y value of one of the points. So we can take the x value and the y value and plug it into slope-intercept form. So we would know our slope because we know the slope's -2, so we can plug that in, and we could know an x value on the equation and a y value on the equation, just leaving us with figuring out what the y-intercept is. Here's how you do it. We're going to substitute in what we know about y equals mx plus b. So instead of writing y, we're going to write -1 because that's our y coordinate value. And instead of writing m, which is our slope, we're going to write -2. And instead of writing x, we are going to write -4. And we don't know our y-intercept. That's what we're trying to figure out because to write in slope-intercept form, you have to know the slope and y-intercept. So we are going to solve this. Again, this is solving equations. If you need a plug, this is a plug for my solving equations videos. If you need a refresher on solving equations, make sure you go and watch that because that is a previous skill that you need to know before this lesson. So we're going to solve equations. -2 times -4 is 8 plus b. We know we need to balance it and isolate this variable. So I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. And I'm going to get b is equal to -8 minus 1, -9. So I know my b is -9. Okay, and I know my slope is -2, and I can take this, what I figured out, and write my equation now. So y equals, when we write it in slope-intercept form, remember we don't write the y value or the x value because our equation says whatever we plug in for x and then what we get for y, that point is on that line. So when we're writing just the equation, the generic equation, we just want to know our slope. So y equals negative 2x plus a negative 9. We can also write it as negative 2x minus 9. Anytime you have a negative y-intercept, you don't have to write the plus minus. Just go ahead and write minus 9. And this is our equation that is parallel to this guy right here. And we know it's parallel because same slope, negative 2, negative 2. This one will intersect the y-axis at 3, but this one intersects at 9, but they're parallel. Okay, now we're going to talk about perpendicular lines. So let me go here and bring this back up. So parallel lines, we notice they have the same slope, but with perpendicular lines mean they intersect at a right angle. So they're not going to have the same slope, because if that is our line and the perpendicular line right here, we know that they don't have the same slope because they're not rising or falling the exact same rate. Now, what we do know about the slope is, if you notice, it's perpendicular, one's rising, one's falling. They're kind of the opposite. So our slopes of perpendicular lines are opposite reciprocals. So if you don't know, I misspelled that. Sorry, reciprocals. If you don't know what a reciprocal is, it's a fraction and it's just flipped. So like 3/4 and 4/3, that's the reciprocal, but you just flip the fraction. If we have a whole number, remember we can write any whole number over 1. So then we can flip it in 1/5. So 5 and 1/5 are reciprocals. Okay, so if you notice, this equation is not written in slope-intercept form. On any of these problems, you want to first translate the original equation into slope-intercept form. You don't have to, but it makes it a whole lot easier. So that's what I'm going to do first. So y plus 1 equals 4/9 x minus 18. I'm going to write this in slope-intercept form. So the first thing I'm going to do is distribute this. So y plus 1 equals 4/9 times x, which is just 4/9 x. And 4/9 times 18, if you know how to multiply fractions, 4/9 times 18. And so do the reduce. 4 times 2 is 8/1. So 8. You're getting all the math here that you have to remember from previous lessons, multiplying fractions, solving equations, everything. So we want to isolate our y, so I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. Y equals 4/9 x minus 9. So this is written in, because -8 minus 1, again, integer rules. We have to remember how to multiply, add, subtract, divide integers, positive and negative numbers. So y equals 4/9 x minus 9. Okay, so like I said, our slopes are opposite reciprocals. So first, let's just do the reciprocal of 4/9. Well, the reciprocal of 4/9 is 9/4. We just flip that fraction. And opposite means we either go from negative to positive or positive to negative. Well, 4/9 is positive, so we're going to go from positive to negative. So the opposite reciprocal is -9/4. So again, we know our slope is -9/4. We do not know our b, but we have a point. So we can do exactly what we did in the last problem. Plug in 3 for x and 9 for y and solve for b. So I'm going to do that. Y equals mx plus b. So y equals m -9/4 x, which is 3, plus b, and we're going to solve for b. So you get to do fractions, yay! -9/4 times 3 is -27/4 plus b. I don't like to add and subtract fractions, so I'm going to do a way where I multiply through by a 4 so I can get rid of that denominator. 4 times 9 is 36. -27/4 times 4, those would just cancel out the denominator, just leaving you with negative 27 plus 4 times b, which is 4b. So all I did was multiply through by a 4 to get rid of that denominator, but you have to multiply by 4 with every term. Now I'm going to solve for b, so I'm going to add 27 to both sides. I'm going to move it up over here because I'm running out of room. So when I add 27 to both sides, I get 63. So 63 equals negative 27 plus 27, those cancel out, equals 4b. Okay, go solve for b. So this is where the fraction comes back, but at least I didn't have to add and subtract fractions. So b equals 63/4. If you want to change that to a mixed fraction, 15 3/4. So we know our b, 15 3/4, and we know our slope, negative 9/4. So I'm going to write it in y equals mx plus b now. So y, remember when we're writing the general equation for the whole line, we leave out y and x. So y equals mx, so the m is negative 9/4, x plus b, so plus 15 3/4. And this is our line that is perpendicular to this line right here. Thank you.